A day of swearing in and grand promises. 45 governors took the oath of office and promised to change the fortunes of counties. This is the Prime Edition. My name is Kimani. Thank you very much indeed for your time. I am joined by my colleague, Njenga, who has all the latest from the world of business.
Yes, and we'll be telling you the latest from Zoea, a sugar company which has resumed milling operations after a 2-month break, and with the promise that farmers will be paid immediately after the cane delivery. We have that and much more. We also have pending bills, a story that will be airing later on during the business bulletin. But first, we take a look at the highlights.
I want to commit to all our governors that the government of Kenya going forward will make it possible that the shareable revenue will be released in time and in accordance with the law and the constitution.
A fresh start in counties. County chiefs take oath of office as President-elect William Ruto promises to support the devolved units should his win be affirmed. And it is history for Kenya. 7 women governors are sworn into office.
You must recognize the good work that your team has done, General Badi.
I'll be more than happy to hand over. I know you'll make this great county prosper.
It is time to say goodbye. NMS to fold operations as Johnson Sakaja takes the reins of the city.
At Kimani is my Twitter handle, and at KBC Channel 1 is our Twitter handle. Well, let's start. President-elect William Ruto has promised to stand with the county government should his win be affirmed by the Supreme Court. Ruto, who made his first appearance in Nairobi since being declared winner of the August 9th general election to attend the swearing-in of new Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja and his deputy James Muchiri, said should his administration take office, he will strengthen devolved governance through timely funding and decentralization of more functions to the counties.
President-elect William Ruto attended the swearing-in ceremony for Nairobi's 4th governor, Johnson Arthur Sakaja, and his deputy, James Muchiri Njoroge.
Do swear that I shall always truly and diligently serve the people and the Republic of Kenya.
I, Sakaja Arthur Johnson, do swear that I shall always truly and diligently serve the people and the Republic of Kenya.
The president-elect committed to work with county governments if his win is given a green light with the Supreme Court following a petition lodged by Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leader Raila Odinga.
I want to commit to all our governors that the government of Kenya going forward will make it possible that the shareable revenue will be released in time and in accordance with the law and the constitution so that we can better manage our counties and make it possible for you to deliver on your mandate and the commitments you have made to the constituents in your counties.
Ruto said every Kenyan will be required to respect the rule of law for effective service delivery if he takes over the reign of power.
We'll work together with you so that Kenya can live within its means, and there will be no tall men or big girls, that the rule of law is going to equalize every Kenyan so that each one of us can pay their taxes. There will be no exemptions on anybody on account of paying taxes.
The president-elect using the opportunity to laud women leaders who were elected governors, saying Kenya has made history by electing 8 women governors into office. Ruto urging Sakaja to live to his manifesto and deliver the pledges to the people of Nairobi. While taking oath of office, Sakaja promised the people of Nairobi a city of hope and dignity.
We will give our people the opportunity to do business, the opportunity to thrive, the opportunity to be who they're supposed to be. Because everybody invariably wants the same thing: to go about their lives peacefully, to make something out of themselves, and to guarantee their children, just like her, a future. That is the future we want to guarantee for Nairobi.
The event was, however, boycotted by a section of MCAs allied to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition.
We have assured him that we are going to work with him. We will support him, but we will equally follow the law. We will not support the governor blindly. We will follow the law.
The county of Nairobi now has a new boss. Kenyans, and especially the city residents, will begin to say whether the new leadership will deliver on its pledges in transforming the city to a better county. First and foremost, in ensuring that the green city in the sun is back without the garbage menace. Irene Shuma Udin, Channel 1 in the county of Nairobi.
So 45 governors-elect and their deputies took the oath of office today in Nairobi. Governor Johnson Sakaja and his deputy James Mushiri Njoroge were sworn in at the Kenyatta International Convention Center. Across the country, the new governors promised to hit the ground running and deliver on promises they made during their campaigns. Kakamega and Mombasa have to wait a little longer for new leadership, with elections in the two counties postponed to Monday 29th by the IEBC over election material mix-up.
We will give our people the opportunity to do business, the opportunity to thrive, the opportunity to be who they're supposed to be. Because everybody invariably wants the same thing: to go about their lives peacefully, to make something out of themselves, and to guarantee their children, just like her, a future. That is the future we want to guarantee for Nairobi.
Tell the people of Siaya, you have given us a great responsibility. You have done your bit by going to the election booth and voting for Duol and myself. Now the responsibility is ours. The responsibility is ours. We will not disappoint you.
Tangu ambayo tulishindana na hawa, nawaomba, nawakaribisha kwa mikono zote miwili ya kwamba mkuje sasa tujenge kaunti yetu pamoja.
Programs of our public institutions and spaces and rehabilitation of our riverbanks. We also promise to have the best health facilities with functional specialized treatment units, adequate drugs and qualified personnel.
Administration pledges to fast track the implementation of the Wajir Town Water and Sewerage Project, funded by the World Bank under the Wajir Water and Sewerage Company, Wajwasco.
Today, as I take my oath of office, my focus shifts to putting in place a robust cabinet that will assist me in ensuring there is seamless service delivery to the people of Kirinyaga. Our priority will be to ensure speedy completion of our ongoing projects, even as we embark on new ones lined up in line with our transformation agenda for the county.
My government is not oblivious to the high hopes and aspirations placed in our leadership through your vote. We listened to your concerns during our visits across the county, and this became the basis of my government's development agenda. Nothing in this manifesto or any policies or any programs developed before this election was without hard work and sacrifice. I urge all public servants to go back to work.
We must ensure our people get quality, efficient services going forward. Let us, with courage and confidence, face the challenges facing our county with principles, policies, and programs that will uplift our people out of poverty.
Nitahakikisha kwamba pesa zote za kuendeleza mafunzo ya wafanyikazi zitatumika kwa sababu hiyo, na nafasi zote za training nitahakikisha zitapeanwa kwa njia ya haki na usawa.
My administration will also ensure that there is a functioning school feeding program and accessible and transparent bursary fund.
Government is open. I give you an opportunity. Those ideas that you had, you're offering to Murang'a people, please bring them to me. We shall work together to fulfill those ideas. I do not have a monopoly of knowledge, and therefore, please, my colleagues, in the race, my office is open, and we shall work together to uplift the people of Murang'a County.
Well, 45 governors taking the oath of office and promising to hit the ground running, because in about 5 years from now, the same citizenry will judge their performance. Well, there were some interesting facts about the just concluded elections, and now I want to take you through the former governors who made it or who made a comeback in 2022. Governors who are voted in for the first time in 2013, they lost in 2017, and they have come back again. And I want to start with, let's see. This is Baringo County. Benjamin Cheboy was the first governor for this county in 2013. He won the gubernatorial seat on United Republican Party URP ticket. In 2017, he is bid to defend the seat on Kenya African Union. KANU was unsuccessful. He lost to Jubilee's Stanley Kiptis. In 2022, he made a comeback on a United Democratic Alliance ticket. Well, let me see this. There you go. We had Chaboy. And in West Pokot, a similar fate befell Simon Kachapin in 2013. He was the first governor for West Pokot County. He was elected as the governor on a Kenya African Union or National Union KANU ticket in 2017, and successfully tried to recapture the gubernatorial seat on the Jubilee ticket, but lost to Professor John Lonyangapuo of KANU. In 2022, Lady Luck smiled on him and he made a comeback on a United Democratic Alliance ticket, that is UDA. Who is next? Yes, Kitui Julius Malombe. In 2013, he was lucky, becoming the first governor on a Wiper Democratic Movement ticket. In 2017, he lost his bid to defend the seat on a Wiper party to Charity Ngilu of National Rainbow Coalition, or NAC. In 2022, he was elected, or he managed to recapture the seat on a Wiper Democratic Movement ticket. That is Julius Malombe of Kitui. Let's see who is next. And we have Wajir County up in the north. Abdullahi Mohammed. In 2013, he won the gubernatorial race on an Orange Democratic Movement. In 2017, the county decided to show him the door, and they voted in Jubilee's Mohammed Abdi. And in 2022, they said, welcome back, Mr. Abdullahi Mohammed, when he ended up recapturing the gubernatorial seat on an ODM ticket. Who is next? This is Garissa County. Nadhif Jama became the first governor of Garissa County. He was first elected on a Wiper Democratic Movement ticket. In 2017, he failed to win the hearts of people of Garissa, and he failed to recapture the seat on a White Party Democratic Movement ticket. He lost to Ali Korane of Jubilee Party. In 2022, he was recalled and he was elected for the second time, this time around on an Orange Democratic Movement, that is ODM ticket. Who else was lucky this time around? Remember Joshua Irongo of Laikipia County? Oh yes, the expansive Laikipia County. In 2013, he was elected or voted in on a Jubilee ticket, becoming the first governor of Laikipia County. In 2017, he narrowly lost to Derito Mureithi, who was vying on an independent ticket. In 2022, he was rewarded with another victory after he was campaigning or vying on an UDA ticket after defeating the incumbent governor, Derito Mureithi. That was Joshua Irongo of Laikipia County. Who else is there? Lamu. Wow, the beautiful archipelago county of Lamu. Isa Timami made history as the first governor of this beautiful island of Lamu. In 2013, he was elected on a UDF ticket as the first governor of this county. In 2017, he failed to recapture the seat on an ANC ticket. He lost to Fahim Twaha of Jubilee Party. In 2022, the people of Lamu decided to recall him, and he was elected on as the governor on an ANC ticket, and to make a comeback, becoming or continue with the legacy that he started back in 2013. That is a brief history of governors who made a comeback after losing the seat in 2017. Well, let's move on. The swearing in of 7 female governors today would appear to break the patriarchal bias to entrust women with top political leadership. In 2013, general election top county leadership was a preserve of men, with only 3 women making it in 2017 to a record 7 women governors. 5 years later, from Kwale through to Machakos to the land of Mera in Meru County, women have broken the proverbial glass ceiling. We take a look at how the swearing in of various women governors was conducted, as the report is filed by our reporter Nancy Okware.
Thursday morning at the Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos County, area residents are gathered, ready to witness history as the county gets its first female governor, Wavinya Ndeti. And as she arrived at the stadium, it was all cheers. Wavinya would later take oath of office.
Truly and diligently serve the people and the Republic of Kenya in the office of the governor of Machakos County.
She was then handed the certificate, and at hand was the outgoing governor, Dr. Alfred Mutua, to hand her tools of power.
Time for political competition is over. I call upon them all to unite with me by bringing forth and ideas that can help take Machakos to greater heights.
Our people are hungry. Wapatiwe chakula kabla ya mvua kuja. Because as that if you are able, go everywhere. Usiwe gavana wa kukaa kwa ofisi.
In Nakuru County, Susan Kihika was sworn in as the new governor alongside her deputy David Kones.
That I shall diligently discharge my duties and perform my functions.
Kihika vowing to prioritize agriculture, healthcare and provision of water to the area residents.
In my visits to the village, the mothers and the young girls had one cry: to have clean, accessible drinking water across the county. Mothers and girls have had to go to long distances to fetch water for their basic needs as well as for their livestock.
A similar ceremony was taking place in Meru County, where Kawira Mwangaza was sworn in as the new governor. Kawira won the election on an independent ticket.
I know
most county employees are yet to be paid their salaries for a number of months.
In Embu County, Cecily Mbarire took oath of office as the new county boss alongside her deputy Kenywa Mogo.
There will be no chance for marginalization. And I want to give this confidence, especially so, to our brothers and sisters from very north and very south, that it shall be different in my regime. You shall get your fair share of development like everybody else.
In the coastal region, Fatma Achani was sworn in.
And that I will do justice to all.
The former deputy governor pledging to prioritize water, health and education during her tenure.
Na imani gavana anayeondoka Mheshimiwa Nguria bado atakuwa yupo ili kunipatia mkono wa mwelekezo.
Gladys Atieno Nyasuna Wanga.
Gladys Wanga was also sworn in as the second county boss for Homa Bay County. In Kirinyaga County, Anne Waiguru was sworn in to serve for the second term. She is the only incumbent among the 7 female governors.
So help me God.
Thank you. Following the swearing in of the 7 female governors, the area residents are hopeful that the leaders will deliver on their campaign promises and bring change to the counties. Nancy Okware reporting for Prime Edition from Machakos County.
And congratulations are in order to the 7 women governors who made it in 2022. Well, let's now give you some also interesting facts about this year's election. And for the first time, there were a number of women that were elected as independent candidates. And here they are now. We'll start off, sorry, this is the wrong one. Let's see. There you are. We'll start off with the great county of Nakuru, where Susan Kehika, who was the senator, she's a Kenyan lawyer and a politician, becoming the first female governor of Nakuru County. Remember, Nakuru became a city early this year, and she was the senator of Nakuru County in 2013 and 2017. She won the gubernatorial seat on a United Democratic Alliance or UDA ticket. She managed to garner 440,707 votes to clinch the county's top job. She defeated Jubilee's Lee Kenyanjui, who was the incumbent and who managed to get 225,623 votes. Who is next? Homa Bay, all the way in the Nyanza region. Gladys Atieno Wanga. She's a former woman rep for Homa Bay County from 2013 to 2017. She attained 244,059 votes against her closest rival and former Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero, who managed to get 152,182 votes. Led in 7 out of 8 constituencies in the county, won the gubernatorial seat on an ODM ticket. Kidero, who was vying as an independent candidate, led only in Homa Bay town. Who is next? Embu, also. Cecily Mbarire, who was the member of Parliament for Religious Constituency in Embu County from 2007 to 2017. In 2017 to 2022, she was a nominated member of Parliament on a Jubilee party. She garnered 108,610 votes against closest rival Lenny Kivuti, who managed to get 105,246,000. Other contestants included Dr. Peter Njagi Kumandha, who managed to get 1,676 votes. Former Manyata MP Emilio Kathuri, who withdrew from the race 1 week to the elections, but only managed to get 3,870 votes. She won the gubernatorial seat on an UDA ticket. Who is next? Machakos Wavinya Ndeti. She's the first woman to be elected MP in Machakos County or Machakos since independence. Served as Member of Parliament for Kathiani in the 10th Parliament. Won the Machakos gubernatorial seat on a Wiper Democratic Movement Party. She becomes the first female governor in the county of Machakos, of course, succeeding Alfred Mutua. She managed to get 226,609 votes against her closest opponent, former State House Chief of Staff and Head of Presidential Service Delivery, Waita Nzioka, who managed to get 129,181 votes. Who's next on the line? Kwale County. Well, Fatuma Achani. Since 2013, she has been the Deputy Governor of Kwale County, and she won the race against Professor Hamadi Boga, who was vying on an ODM ticket, and Professor Hamadi Boga was the PS for Agriculture. Chirao Ali Makwere was vying on a Wiper ticket, and Sami Rua, who was vying on an independent ticket. She managed to garner 59,674 votes against her closest competitor, Professor Boga, who garnered 53,972 votes. And in Meru County, surprise was awaiting the incumbent governor, that is Kiraito Murungi, Professor, because Kawera Mwangaza, who is a former woman rep of Meru County, she managed to floor political titans like Kiraito Murungi, who is the incumbent governor, and Mithika Linturi, who was the incumbent senator. She contested as independent candidate, garnered 209,000 votes, 209,148 votes against her closest competitor, Mithika Linturi of UDA, who garnered 183,859 votes. Kiraito Murungi of the Mbas Party trailed with 110,814 votes. And finally, Kirinyaga County, Anne Waigoro, since 2013 to 2015, she served as the first cabinet secretary in the Ministry of Devolution and Planning. In 2017, she was elected as the governor of Kirinyaga County for the first time on a Jubilee ticket. In 2022, she managed to recapture the gubernatorial seat on the UDA ticket. She managed to garner 113,088 votes, while her closest competitor, Purity Wangoi, who was vying as an independent candidate, managed to get 105,677 votes. Those are the women who made history in the 2022 general election. Well, we'll move on. Assurances of honoring their pre-election pledges reverberated across the country as the governors took oath of office. Well, here is a wrap of the governors swearing in that happened today around the country.
In West Pokot, former Governor John Lonyangapuo handed over power to Simon Kachapin, who was the county's first governor and made a comeback. Kachapin promised the locals that his government will prioritize health, food security, poverty reduction and education.
Nitabadilisha kidogo, nitakuwa natembea kila kijiji nione shida yenye iko huko. Kwa sababu ile tunasema managing by walking around. Usipotembea utajua ni nini inafinya mwananchi pale chini.
In Kericho, Governor Dr. Eric Mutai said the journey of equalization had just begun, promising to improve the health sector and improve terms of service for all nurses.
The people of Kericho and the farmers, for us to succeed is in the farm. And I want to call upon today and assure you that within a period of 6 months and at most 1 year, we will deliver for you a milk processor, that will see our farmers sell their milk to the cooperative at 60 shillings per litre.
I, Wesley Kipyegon Rotich.
In Elgeyo Marakwet, Wesley Rotich, the youngest Kenyan governor, pledged to deliver on his manifesto, promising thorough collaboration to achieve his agenda for the next 5 years.
Mimi sitakuwa governor mzuri bila sisi kushikana sisi wote kama wakaaji wa Elgeyo Marakwet County. Kaunti yetu ni ndogo, lakini ni kaunti ambayo kuna watu wanajitahidi zaidi Kenya mzima. Mimi tu nataka niwapee nyinyi kifunguu ili tuende pamoja ili niwe gavana wenu.
I shall always truly and diligently serve the people and the Republic of Kenya in the office of the governor of Kitui County.
Dr. Julius Malombe also made a comeback as Kitui governor, promising to do even better than during his first term. Makueni's Mutula Kilonzo Jr., Paul Otuoma of Busia, and Wajir's Ahmed Abdullahi were optimistic of realizing the ideals of devolved governance for their people.
My government is not oblivious to the high hopes and aspirations placed in our leadership through your vote. We listened to your concerns during our visits across the county, and this became the basis of my government's development agenda.
We shall carry out feasibility studies, surveys and designs to develop and implement Busia County Water Master Plan for construction of water supply systems, sanitation and hygiene solutions.
I am very much aware of the acute water shortage within the 4 miles radius of Wajir town and the anxiety this causes to the residents of our county's capital. My administration pledges to fast-track the implementation of the Wajir Town Water and Sewerage Project funded by the World Bank under the Wajir Water and Sewerage Company, Wajwasco.
Sentiments echoed by Kilifi's Gideon Mungaro and Tharaka Nithi's Muthomi Njuki, who pledged to serve all indiscriminately. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Well, that was the situation in many counties, and of course, as more than 45 governors took the oath of office. Remember, the counties of Mombasa and Kakamega are going to the polls on the 29th of this month after elections were postponed by IEBC because of ballot mix-ups. Well, in 2022, we had some interesting, some other surprising facts, because for the first time, 2 governors were elected as independent candidates. And who are these? We start off with the county of Meru, where Kawera Mwangaza pulled a surprise on everyone. She has been a businesswoman before joining politics, and in 2017-2022, she was the Meru woman representative. She defeated the incumbent governor, Kiraito Murungi, who was vying on a Mbas, and incumbent senator, Mithika Linturi, who was vying on a UDA ticket. She contested on an independent ticket. She managed to get 209,148 votes against closest competitor Mithika Linturi, who polled in 183,859 votes. Surprise was awaiting the incumbent governor, Kiraito Murungi, who came in third with 110,000 votes, 110,814 votes. Who was next? Well, this is Taita Taveta, another surprise. Andrew Mwadime who was a banker before joining active politics. In 2013, he defeated former Education Assistant Minister Kalista Mwatela in the Mwatate Parliamentary race on an ODM ticket. He becomes the first to win the gubernatorial seat on an independent ticket at the coast. He managed to garner 49,901 votes against his closest competitor and incumbent governor Granton Samboja of Jubilee, who only managed to get 23,701 votes. Well, those were the two surprises who managed to clinch their governorship position through the independent ticket. Well, you're watching the Prime Edition. We are coming to you live from Broadcasting House. A short break is well deserved, and thereafter we'll be back with more stories, including business news. Stay right here.
Kupata skiza tune ya mambo mema, dial star 811 star 815 hash.
Mambo mema huwaendea watu wanaosubiri, ila mambo mema zaidi huwaendea watu wanaoyatafuta. Kupata mambo mema ni kufanikiwa, na kufanikiwa ni kutabasamu, kutafakari na kuhesabu mema na baraka ulizozichukulia hatua, ukazitafuta na kuzipata. Amka, tafuta ufanisi wako.
Kupata skiza tune ya mambo mema, dial star 811 star 815 hash. Star 811 star 815 hash.
Watu ni wakukuliwa. Na ni wakukuliwa kabisa.
Mheshimiwa, my foot. Mlipigia nani kura?
Kidengdeng ikishapita, sisi mayuti tuko wera. Lakini nyinyi ndo mmefanya tusingie rawe. Naweza kuwa naongea uaganizi.
Mstari ya 5, mlango ya 2, dirisha ya 3, tukienda kwa corridor. Inasema love ole munoma as you love myself. Mbona wewe hujapenda mimi?
Ati? Rada njegul.
Wewe uliza swali itaeleweka hapa.
Nasemaje? Wewe ukimwokalize sapale ulipata kila mtu wako kwa kingwarwar. Sawa?
Wewe.
Hiyo ni ufwala last.
Wewe. Unaelewa hiyo lugha?
Na tunaelewana mheshimiwa.
Welcome back. As the dust settles on the swearing in of the 45 governors conducted Thursday, Kenyans across the country are optimistic that the new county administrations would deliver on their election pledges. From different counties, Kenyans seem to be unanimous on issues that they want addressed as a matter of urgency by the incoming county chiefs. High cost of living, better health services, and reduction in the cost of doing businesses are the high on the priority list. Beatrice Gatonye moves this conversation forward.
Tunaamini ya kwamba kwa sababu tukiangalia katika majumbani kwetu tunaona kina mama ndio ambao wana take control, wanalea watoto. Kwa hivyo tunaamini ya kwamba kupitia kwa huyu mama mambo yote yatakuwa shwari na kutakuwa na amani na makazi yatapatikana kwa vijana.
Tunafurahi kwanza sisi kama wanawake kwanza. Istoshe mwanamke ni jicho kwa jamii, anatuona sana. Wanaume tunaona hawatakuwa na ile, hawatatuangalia sana, lakini kwa sisi wanawake tuko na furaha nyingi sana.
Wananchi wamekuwa wakilia sana, manake wafisadi wamekidhiri sana katika serikali iliyopita. Na tuna uhakika ndani ya, na mimi ninavyomjua Mheshimiwa Mwadime, nimefanya naye kazi bungeni miaka 5, amekuwa mtu wangu wa karibu. Hana utepetevu na kazi. Ni mtu ambaye akisema jambo analifuatilia mpaka mwisho wake. Kwa hivyo la kwanza tunajua tutaboresha maendeleo katika kaunti hii.
Tuna imani kwa viongozi waliochaguliwa wanaenda kutenda kazi na wameamua kuwakilisha na wakatuelezea watafanya kazi na vijana, watafanya kazi na walemavu, watafanya kazi na wazee. Hawajichagua watu wa jinsia tofauti tofauti, wamechagua watu wa jinsia tofauti tofauti. Watasaidia kila mmoja na watatushika mkono, na tuna imani na viongozi waliopo.
Shida ya Isolo ni security kwanza, ngine ni maji. Hiyo yote tumeeleza yeye, akona habari, ameweka nini kwa programu yake ya kazi. Vile mimi najua huyu atakuja kusaidia watu wa Isiolo.
Ni kijana ambaye barubaru, ni kijana ambaye Mungu ametujalia, ni mtu ambaye ako na mwelekeo na ameapa mbele ya Mungu kwamba atafanya kazi vizuri.
Ninaomba tu kitu ya kwanza afanye, aunganishe jamii ya Waturkana, ya Waborana, Wameru na Wasamburu, kwa sababu tumekuwa na insecurity, lakini tunaamini kwamba yote yatakuwa sawa.
Sasa ambacho ningeomba gavana wetu ambaye ameingia Simba Paul Arati Kisia tufanyie ni shule zetu watoto wasifukuzwe. Pasaris venye amesema watoto wapate pasaris. Jambo lingine la pili kwa maendeleo, factory ziwe Kisii County ili ndi ajira iwe kwa vijana, iwe kwa wamama na iwe kwa wazee.
Tungependa gavana wetu ajenge factory ya ndizi hapa hivi ambayo itasaidia wakulima, ambayo itasaidia vijana wapate kazi wajiajiri.
Well, elsewhere, the presidential election petition dominated the swearing-in ceremonies of Governors Anyang' Nyong'o in Kisumu and Gladys Wanga of Homa Bay that were respectively graced by Azimio la Umoja flag-bearer Raila Odinga and running mate Martha Karua. Raila and Karua exuded confidence of victory, saying they had presented a watertight case before the Supreme Court. Achola Simon with the details.
Even as Azimio celebrated bagging the gubernatorial seats in its strongholds,
I, Honorable Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o,
their eyes were still set on the top prize at the swearing-in of Kisumu Governor Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o. Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga asserted that the presidential election had a lot of irregularities, which their petition pending at the Supreme Court will expose.
Because we believe that the people of Kenya spoke very loudly on the 9th of August this month, and that it is a new government. But as we said, we will pursue the legal means in order to ensure that justice is done to the people of our country.
Continue praying for Baba. God has given us a courageous and strong leader who will lead us to the promised land. A leader who is unwavering. A leader who dreams only of a better Kenya for the entire nation.
His running mate Martha Karua took the same message to Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga swearing-in ceremony, exuding confidence of nullifying the presidential election results.
I want to assure you that our case before the Supreme Court is watertight. I may not talk about it because we are not supposed to discuss cases that are pending. But I want to ask you to be confident as we are that justice is going to be done.
Wanga, who beat the odds to become the first woman governor in Nyanza region, is well aware of the task ahead.
As we engage in this, our intention is to invite into government men and women of high integrity, committed to service delivery, and those who are ready to help us achieve radical changes and rapid development for our people.
Her conciliatory tone in extending the olive branch to her competitors in fulfillment of her blueprint was echoed in Kisumu by Governor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o, who said cooperation is key in completing development projects he had started in his first term.
Her Excellency Gladys Nyasuna Wanga has her work cut out. While many feel the inaugural government of Cyprian Awiti may have done their bit, many feel that more still needs to be done, and that is where Gladys Wanga comes in with her administration. Achola Simon, Prime Edition, Homa Bay County.
Well, in a bid to fight corruption and enhance accountability and transparency, the new governors sworn in Thursday were also required to take an integrity oath. The oath, spearheaded by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, is meant to bind the leaders to uphold high standard of integrity and refrain from rampant corruption that has threatened devolution.
I, Honorable Dr. Thomas Paul Nyongesa.
I, Wesley Kipyegon Rotich.
As part of fighting corruption that has been rampant in counties, all governors elected in the 2022 general election had also to take integrity oath.
I will do justice to all in accordance with the Constitution and the laws of Kenya.
Without fear, favor, affection, or ill will.
So help me God.
The oath, in addition to the oath of office, is to have the county bosses commit themselves to stay true to the calling of service to Kenyans and not using their office to further their interests. The move was ignited by the happenings in counties during the second reign of devolution, where a number of governors were impeached for failing integrity test. The then governors Ferdinand Waititu, Mike Sonko, Mohamed Mohamud were all impeached on allegations of abuse of office. Andrew Kero for Prime Edition in Nairobi.
Back in Nairobi, where the Nairobi Metropolitan Services term at the Nairobi County is coming to an end, the Director General of NMS, Mohamed Badi, says the body will be handing over 4 functions under its mandate back to the City County from next week. Badi, who had attended the swearing-in ceremony of the new Nairobi Governor, Johnson Sakaja, said the unit has concluded its mandate and it is time to relinquish the reins.
The curtains are coming down for the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, which is now on its sunset days. Slowly, the institution that took over functions of the Nairobi County government under the watch of Mike Sonko is slowly packing its bags. NMS Director General retired Major Mohamed Badi, who spoke during the swearing-in of Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja, revealed the outfit will cease its operations from next week.
We will start the process of handing over from next week. And as we wind up as NMS, going back to various ministries and some of the staff returning to the county, I would like to personally and on behalf of NMS pledge our support to the governor. We will always be available for you, to work with you to make Nairobi great again.
According to Major General Badi, 4 major tasks assigned to NMS after the completion of the signing of the deed of transfer in February 2020 are complete, and NMS will be letting the new governor proceed with managing the affairs of the city.
NMS was created for specific mandate, and I'm very happy to report, Your Excellency the Governor, that NMS has accomplished all the tasks given to do within the 2 years. And the extra tasks that we have taken on board, which are ongoing projects, I'll be more than happy to hand over. I know you'll make this great county prosper.
During the run-up to the 9th of August general election, Governor Sakaja promised to kick out NMS from the city, claiming it had failed to deliver on its promises. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Now to the National Assembly, where at least 110 members-elect of the National Assembly were on Thursday familiarized with operations of Parliament ahead of the first sitting. MPs who participated in the induction process expressed confidence that the 13th Parliament will transform the lives of Kenyans through friendly policies.
Article 126 sub-article 2 of the Constitution provides that whenever a new house is elected, the President, by notice in the Gazette, shall appoint the place and the date for the first sitting of the new house, which shall not be more than 30 days after the election. Anticipating the first sitting of the 13th Parliament may be in the next 2 weeks, the National Assembly organized 2 days of orientation for members-elect. By close of business Wednesday, at least 110 members had been registered and submitted their biodata, as well as briefed by the Office of the Clerk on essential legislative matters.
The most important thing that has brought me to Parliament, and I've told my constituents as I campaigned, is that we must bring the cost of living down.
Sahi wananchi wanalia mafuta iko juu, chakula iko juu. So the first agenda is for the Kenyan hustler.
I'm looking forward to giving my contribution towards enacting laws that will help us deal with the economic crisis that we are facing currently.
There's not been robust debate in Parliament. We are in debt as a country. Food prices are high. So for my people in Kasarani, what they should expect from me when I enter Parliament is someone who will debate and defend their interests.
Among the newcomers in the 13th Parliament is Embakasi West MP Mureithi Mwenje, whose father representing the larger Embakasi constituency in the 9th Parliament. The young Mwenje commits to walk in the shoes of his father as he represents the city residents.
Embakasi West has not been represented before. They didn't have a voice. You wait and see. They will have a voice in this house. And you can hear my voice is a heavy one. Yeah? Sijakuja ku waste time hapo bwana.
Seasoned members who have been re-elected also participated in the day one of induction. The issue of scrapped allowances amounting to 1 billion shillings still a thorny issue.
If you went to do public participation and ask Kenyans if they want CDF to be removed, I tell you they'll say no.
Na pia kuleta mambo mapya ambayo kama mambo ya scholarship yale ambayo tulikuwa tumeanza ya kusaidia watoto ambao wanatoka katika jamii maskini, wale ambao wazazi wao hawajiwezi kiuchumi, na mambo mengi ya legislation hapa katika bunge. Tutaendelea kuleta zile miswada ambazo zinasaidia mwananchi.
Education is a major frontier for development of communities. We have done much in the 11th, the 12th, and this time round I want to give it greater attention.
The induction is expected to end on Friday. Gishoki Washira, Prime Edition.
And of course, remember that orientation exercise is expected to continue tomorrow, where the remaining members of Parliament elect are expected to be inducted. And of course, the Channel 1 News will definitely be there to give you live coverage of that event. Well, now to the corridors of justice, where the petition that had sought to bar the Supreme Court from declaring a winner of a presidential election after a vote retallying is now headed to the Court of Appeal. The High Court dismissed the petition on grounds that it has no jurisdiction over the matter.
With a presidential election petition pending at the Supreme Court, lawyer Ashford Kome, South Mogirango Member of Parliament, Sylvanus Sisoro and 2 other voters sought the High Court's interpretation of Section 80, subsection 4 of the 2011 Election Act that allows the Supreme Court to declare a presidential winner in case of a retallying of votes. Justice Edwin Ongundi, however, dismissed the petition, saying the court lacked jurisdiction. The petitioners now vow to seek the intervention of the Court of Appeal on the matter as they term it inconsistent with the Constitution.
We are saying it is unconstitutional to the extent that it purports to give powers to the Supreme Court to declare a losing petitioner, presidential candidate, as president-elect upon a recount of votes.
Meanwhile, the Milimani Law Courts, where the Supreme Court will be seated to hear the presidential election petitions, will not be accessible for other cases from Friday the 26th to the 5th of September. In a notice, the judiciary indicated that all fresh pleas and certificates of urgency will be filed and handled at the City Court, as other matters scheduled for this period will be mentioned virtually for directions. This is to ensure the presidential petition is heard and determined efficiently within the stipulated time without interference. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
Residents of Mountain View Ward in Westlands constituency today morning woke up to the horror of a woman and her 2 children dead bodies in a nearby dam. Residents suspect she drowned herself and 2 children in the early morning incident. The occurrence has left both family and resident in shock as they come to terms with the tragedy.
Reports indicate the incident happened early morning at around 6:30 a.m. According to an eyewitness, the lady in question, an M-Pesa shop owner along Thiongo Road, walked towards the dam, let out a loud scream, and then proceeded to walk right into the dam and her 2 children. The 2 children were aged 3 and the younger one was only 9 months old. Local divers were able to retrieve the bodies, with the older child succumbing while receiving treatment at the Mbagathi hospital. The lady's sister, Winnie Avagalwa, said her sister was a calm person who related well with her neighbors and friends.
Nimekuja kwa mguu mpaka mountain kwenye anaka. Amefunga mlango amefunga vizuri. Hakufungua biashara. Mlango yake duka amefunga tu vizuri, hata gasi hakutoa nje. Nakuja nimepatana hapo na landlord, nikamuuliza what is not happening. Anasema hata ameshtuka ajui nini inaendelea. Akaniambia labda wewe tuambie. Nikamwambia hata mimi sijui. Nimekuwa kwa Tuesday sister yangu hajaniambia ako na shida yote. Yeye amekuwa tu vizuri, hako sawa.
Naomba serikali kama ni uwezo. Hii damu sio mara ya kwanza watu kuanguka hapa. Imekuwa kila mara, lakini tunaomba Mungu hii mwaka hakuna mwenye ameshawahi kuanguka hapo. Lakini sasa imekuwa Satan tena amerudi, wameanza kuanguka. Serikali tunaomba tafadhali, simfensi hii damu alafu ndio watu wasikuwe wakihangaika. Hiyo ndio ninaomba serikali isingatie hiyo kitu ili watu wakuwe na usalama.
Onlookers tried to retrieve them, but it was late. They retrieved while they were dead, but the two children who seemed to be breathing at that time were rushed to Eagles Hospital.
Evans Mumanyi, the lady's husband, declined to comment on the matter. Our efforts to get a word from the OCPD were however futile. Andrew Kiro for Prime Edition.
Yani ina maana nchi ama mji ikiwa na amani, unakuta hata nchi zingine zinawadhamini, zinawafadhili sana, zinawaaminia.
Muislamu wa kisawasawa ni yule ambaye anadumisha amani, anaepukana na maneno ambayo yanaweza kupelekea kuvurugika kwa amani, na vitendo vyake pia huwa vinahusika na kuhifadhi amani.
Sometimes I wish I never left. Probably JJ would be at a better place right now.
And you were not really there when we needed a mother.
Kuna kitu inaitwa doto za mushana na dreams. So, jua kutofautisha.
Ukitaka kumake money on a side apart from this job, punguza mdomo.
Kunyamaza pia inakuwa ni gharama sana.
Unajua kuongea lugha ya pesa.
Hello?
I'm planning to call a board meeting.
She has already reached. Okay, let me look at the forms, then I'll get them to you via email.
How would you like working with us?
I'm not quite sure how that would work.
We are on the same side.
We're gonna need Millicent on our side.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We continue with our coverage tonight, and we now take a look at the latest in the world of business, where pomp and color filled the swearing-in ceremonies of the newly elected governors across the 47 counties. As the political dust settles and the responsibilities become clear, most of the governors will realize that they have inherited huge pending bills. This, coupled with high recurrent expenditure, are the key challenges they will have to surmount if they are to implement development projects. Betty Kiptum now looks into the pending bills headache.
the dancing will stop and the work begins.
It shall be different in my regime. You shall get your fair share of development like everybody else.
Development promises made that will require budgetary allocations. Budgets will, however, be squeezed as county governors steer their counties, balancing between recurrent expenditure, settling pending bills and allocating money for development. According to the Controller of Budget report, as at the end of last year, pending bills in counties stood at 128.94 billion shillings. Nairobi had the highest amount of pending bills at 84.01 billion shillings, followed by Kiambu at 5.12 billion shillings. Mombasa owed 4.29 billion shillings, Wajir at 3.82 billion shillings, Machakos had 2.8 billion shillings, and Tana River owed 2.41 billion shillings.
The current pending bills exceed the amount budgeted and spent in our county for development in a single year.
Baringo County had the lowest pending bills at 3.8 million shillings after settling 191.47 million shillings of the outstanding 195.27 million shillings. Bomet County settled 316.01 million shillings of the 520.73 million shillings, remaining with 204.71 million shillings. The Controller of Budget report indicates that counties reported low expenditure on development budget with an absorption rate of 13.5% of the annual development expenditure budget of 192.29 billion shillings. The new governors will control 407.1 billion shillings this financial year, comprising 370 billion shillings in equitable share and 37.1 billion shillings in grants. It will be interesting to see how they work around these numbers and deliver on their promises without accruing more debt. Cecily Mbarire takes office as the first female governor of Embu County with 2.2 billion shillings in pending bills, a challenge she says she will have to surmount to ensure that the pending bills are paid and at the same time that money goes into development. Reporting from Embu County, I'm Betty Kiptu.
Thank you, Betty, for that detailed report on pending bills. And you can interact with us using our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. And you can tweet me directly at Carol W. Njenga, at O'Brien Kimani. Now, moving on, Cooperative Bank has reported a 45% growth in half-year pre-tax profit to 15.3 billion shillings, powered a double-digit increase in interest and non-interest income. Coop Bank Group Managing Director Gideon Muriuki says the performance delivers a competitive return on equity of 24.2% to the shareholders.
During the first 6 months of this year, Cooperative Bank's total assets increased 5.4% to 603.9 billion shillings. In addition, customer deposits increased 4% to 423 billion shillings. This anchored the lender to increase the net loans and advances by 9.6% from 301.2 billion shillings to 330 billion shillings. In addition, investment in government securities marginally increased from 182 billion shillings to 183.2 billion shillings. This powered the lender's total operating income to grow 17.8% from 29.2 billion shillings to 34.4 billion shillings. This comprised of net interest income that increased 11.8% to 21.1 billion shillings and total non-interest income that rose 29% to 13.3 billion shillings. Coop Bank Group Managing Director Gideon Muriuki says the lender has successfully moved 94% of all customer transactions to alternative delivery channels and expanded 24-hour contact center, mobile banking, 558 ATMs, internet banking, and a countrywide network of Coop Kwajirani agents. Muriuki says key focus on digital banking, with the all telco M-Coop Cash mobile wallet continuing to play a pivotal role in the growth of non-funded income, with 5 million customers registered and loans worth 40.8 billion shillings disbursed year to date, averaging over 6.8 billion shillings per month. He says Cooperative Bank Group will going forward pursue strategic initiatives focusing on resilience and growth in the various economic sectors. Hibak Said for Prime Edition.
Njenga Sugar Company has resumed milling operations after a 2-month maintenance break. The miller's managing director, Crispin Ogutu, has promised to pay farmers immediately after cane delivery to avoid a build-up of arrears. Ogutu says 733 million shillings in arrears owed to farmers has been settled, with the remaining 326 million shillings expected to be paid from the miller's operations.
In November last year, the government offered Njenga Sugar Company a 500 million shilling bailout after the Bungoma-based miller accumulated 733 million shillings in arrears to farmers. The miller's managing director, Crispin Ogutu, says the cash paid to farmers in December last year catered to 38.6% of the total arrears of 733 million shillings that was then owed to farmers, leaving a balance of 450 million shillings. Of the $500 million shillings received, Njenga Sugar Company spent 217 million shillings to finance maintenance of its milling equipment, while the remaining 283 million shillings was used for settling farmers' arrears. Ogutu says the miller has this month cleared arrears owed to 14,000 farmers who delivered cane between 15th October 2021 to 31st May 2022. He says the miller's arrears are now at 326 million shillings, which he has pledged to settle from revenue as sugar sales start streaming in. This is after the company has fully resumed milling operations after a 2-month break that was taken for maintenance and repair of its milling equipment. The managing director further says the company has had major operational shifts to reduce costs, which had added to the losses they were making before. He says previously, the company was grinding 15 tons of sugar cane to produce only a ton of sugar, which has improved to 11 tons of cane producing 1 ton of sugar. He is urging farmers to increase production, noting that the factory is now in high demand for raw materials. Hibak Said for Prime Edition.
Now to our weekly segment, Tech One, we focus on smart home, where you can now remotely control the temperature of your fridge, start your washing machine, switch off the home theater system or unattended lights in your house through your mobile phone, thanks to smart home Internet of Things technology. However, this means that you are prone to incompatibility issues among devices or the risk of hacking and loss of data if you do not secure the interconnected smart devices. Tonight on Tech One, we look at how manufacturers can safeguard against unwanted devices manipulation and device similarities if users are to enjoy smart home features.
Now, this is the application side of this side refrigerator, and as you can see, you can actually control the temperatures of this particular fridge. One interesting feature about this one is that it has something called the Smart Learner, that when you switch on, it can already tell you the habits of how you use your fridge. For example, it shows you which times of the day that your fridge is mostly opened. How awesome is that? And of course, it's not as expressive and as impressive as this here. According to McKinsey's The Connected Home Market Report, consumers are most motivated by security and safety when buying connected home technologies, with wireless tech becoming a permanent home companion. However, the smart system faces some challenges and security risks.
So when it comes to use of private data, so actually if you choose to use an LG account, the only information that LG gets from you as a user is just your location and your date of birth. So there is no other information we would require from you, no passwords or whatever, to ensure that your information is protected.
Kamore says that manufacturers are increasingly putting in place safeguards such as encryption and safe sign-in authentication protocols to prevent cases of hacking.
One of the things, so one way that you can be able to connect, or the platforms that you can be able to use is, so one, if you are logging in or if you're using the LG ThinkQ for your home network, so you have options. You can log in with your Google account, and if you can also create an LG account.
Still, incompatibility is one of the biggest problems for smart home technologies, which has forced manufacturers to develop applications that allow third-party compatibility and updates.
The LG thing is not locked to only LG. If you have even other smart devices, let's say, for example, if it's your lights, if it's your locks, if it's your curtains, if it's, let's say, we can use those examples, smart taps. I mean, all of them you can be able to control and monitor from your phone and from the convenience of having the TV.
He says for a smart home to operate efficiently and optimally, a user is advised to tap free delivery and expert installation from electronic companies, which is offered free of charge as an after-sale service when one buys electronic devices.
So from there, the service center, you are the one to allow our service center access to your product, even through the system. So they will ask you, which is the product? Do you have a ThinkQ account? You tell them, they tell us they take a few details of the product, so you allow them.
In Kenya, with the increasing popularity of electronic devices driven by low data costs and availability of device choice for consumers, electronic companies believe that innovation is inevitable if users are to conveniently move with global trends.
If you offer a customer convenience and control of their home, all customers or all users always want to have control and the convenience it offers. So what you can do is just inform the public that whichever product you intend to buy, if it's a TV, it's a washing machine, if it's a fridge, if it's a home theater, even small appliances, microwave, always think about the convenience it offers you and the control.
Currently, companies are looking to assist users in seamless connectivity with the press of a button, with users being urged to be alive to the limits of permissions and controls. Manufacturers say controlling things like this is inevitable because convenience and technology go hand in hand, and there is no trade-off between convenience and technology, especially when it comes to AI and the Internet of Things in the home. Alanaoko, take one.
Thank you, Alanaoko. Now, on Magical Scenes tonight, the remnants of Gedi, a Swahili town that was deserted in the 13th century, are still visible on the dense 420 square kilometer Arabuko Sokoke National Reserve in Kilifi County. Our reporter Irene Muchuma-Odim now features the highlights of East Africa's largest tropical forest in this week's episode of Magical Scenes.
The Arabuko Sokoke Forest is part of the Arabuko Sokoke National Park in Kilifi County. This is the largest tropical forest in East Africa. A stone throw away from the beach, the reserve is a world away from the ordinary tourist destination. Displays of butterflies, birds, and monkeys are attractions at the 420 square kilometer Arabuko Sokoke National Reserve. In this dense forest was a 13th century Swahili town called Gedi. The settlement thrived for several years. The remnants of the deserted town are still visible in the thick vegetation. The reserve has endangered woodland creatures like the Sokoke bushy-tailed mongoose. Adding to the charm of this forest is the Amani sunbird and Sokoke scoops owl, the smallest owl in Africa.
We have tried to incorporate the communities and also use of technology. The use of technology is one we use now forest alerts, where we have tried to work with our stakeholders to train the communities together with the Kenya Forest Service such that they may assist us to backstop areas where we've got a less number of rangers. Both the basic paramilitary to assist them during a response. There are some basic drills in case of any eventuality. And therefore, since we started this program, the levels of distraction has really gone down because we get real-time information. We are happy because of this digital response, which is now at least together with the communities, they can now bridge the gap of those the less numbers of rangers that we are experiencing.
And for those who like their nature up close, Arabuko Sokoke is a hiker's paradise with clearly marked pathways and nature trails. Irene Mchuma Odim, Magical Sense in the county of Kilifi.
The use of manufactured plastic dates back to 1862 when a Briton named Alexander Parkes unveiled the first plastic product. Today, 160 years later, this invention has arguably given birth to an environmental nightmare when it comes to plastic waste management. But entrepreneurs have found a window of opportunity through embracing the concept of reduce, reuse, recycle and recover. Here's now Opicho Chemutai with the features plastic and the environment.
Truckloads of plastic waste find its way to Vitz Plastics Limited. All these will still be part of the solid waste littering the environment, all because plastic takes centuries to decompose. The sorting of plastic waste is a critical stage of the recycling process that embraces the 4R waste management strategy, that is reduce, reuse, recycle and recover. The plastics recovered from the environment are sorted according to the various parameters and categories depending on quality and density in the preparation for the next stage. The next step is shredding. The shredder machines is then adjusted according to the quality of the plastics, and the plastics are then shredded into small, manageable granules based on the desired sizes. Then the shredded granules is passed through tunnels containing hot water regulated with cold water to eliminate all types of contaminants. The shredded granules is then transported to the drying machine.
When materials come from the other side of Vitz Plastic, which is just grinded and washed, they have to be measured first. And then after measuring, they are put in an orderly manner before putting them in a dryer. The work of a dryer is to eliminate any moisture that could be in the materials from the washing section. And then it also makes it easier for the pelletizer machines to process the products.
From there to a different machine that converts the granules to pellets.
When we go to the pelletizer, we have the heaters which convert the grinded materials from the solid we have into a liquid form that just flows through a sieve, and then it flows through water you realize that in the trough of water, we have we have to create an equilibrium where there is warm water that's cooling the molten material, and then we have cold water that comes in through the pipes. And then you realize at the end there is a cutter which cuts the coated material into smaller and finer particles, which we call pellets.
The pellets are then packed in sacks and transported to the various production machines where the conversion of pellets to desired end products takes place. The different plastics pellets sorted out at the initial stage of the recycling process produce different items depending on its quality and density.
What we see here are just case examples of the broad categories of products that are made from all collected waste from the environment, then undergoes up the processes of sorting, grinding, washing, and pelletization to what you see here as a final product. So a case example is this. These are flakes or grinded materials of the jerrycans, 20-liter jerrycans, and the oily jerrycans you see in petrol stations. They are the ones that are crushed and washed into this. And then they have to be pelletized to what you see here. And that's what we call blow mix pellets, because all that is a class of blow mix. And that's what we use to make these drums. We have what we call gully traps for the toilets. And then we also have these, which have to be added a master batch to change its color. These are flakes from the basins collected from the environment. They are sorted because when materials come, it's a mixture of either green, blue, red, yellow, and then here we only have the green. The grinded green flakes are what we convert into pellets. And it's from these pellets that we make products like this, egg trays. We also make these basins from this. And then we also make cups from the same pellets.
According to Vits Plastic Limited founders, the organization has been able to provide a lasting solution to the elusive solid waste management challenge.
The journey has been good. It's fulfilling because every day, you're changing somebody's life. One, because you're employing people. Second thing is you can actually calculate the value you're putting back by the recovery. We do about 25 to 30 tons of recovery of waste every day in plastic only. Kenya, Nairobi produces about 600 to 700 tons is converted, wasted every day. So we are doing only a fraction of that. And we need a lot of people to come join hands together in different capacities to be able to scale up this operation.
Everything that has a beginning has an end. What you're seeing around me is plastic turned from trash to cash. Some have been transformed to plates, to cups, to super drums, to spoons. Indeed, waste is wealth. Opicho Chemtai for Channel 1 News.
Interesting story there. Entrepreneurs making quick cash from recycling of plastics. Now, German manufacturer Stihl has earmarked $500 million for supporting smallholder farmers acquire farming equipment. Through the program, smallholder farmers will receive tillers, mist blowers, sprayers and water pumps at a discounted price in efforts to unlock the agricultural potential.
Stihl Group develops, manufactures and distributes outdoor power equipment for forestry, agriculture, landscaping and construction. Through its newly opened subsidiary Steel East Africa, the firm has injected 500 million shillings to support smallholder farmers acquire the right farming equipment to boost agricultural productivity.
The product portfolio for our market that entailed also deciding on the distribution channel for our market, ensuring that in terms of distribution we have dealers who are in places where our customers can be able to access those products, and where in terms of logistics of products movement from our warehouse in Nairobi to all over the country, that one is well catered for.
Farmers will receive a range of agricultural products from tillers, mist blowers, sprayers to water pumps at an affordable price to boost the levels of mechanization of agriculture.
We have over 2,500 lines of individual inventory that we already have in place. That includes new machines, spare parts, accessories, and everything else that customers need to use our products most efficiently.
The firm will also be offering both practical tutorials on how the various equipment works at their Nairobi hub.
We are involved in influencing the activities that happens in our value chain. That included determining the product portfolio for our market. That entailed also deciding on the distribution channel for our market, ensuring that in terms of distribution we have dealers who are in places where our customers can be able to access those products.
Within the region, the firm says it is targeting the booming agriculture, construction, and forestry sectors in the region as governments continue to increase investments in these areas.
Now that story brings to a close business news for tonight, but Richard Munga is coming up next with the sports update. Have a good night.
Sana to the Second Chance TV game show.
Tough questions.
Virunga National Park is located within which mountain ranges? Aberdare. Aberdare? Is that your final answer?
Tough challenges.
3, 2, 1,
It's a survival for the smartest.
10 seconds to go. Who is the current president of Malawi?
Jakaya Kikwete.
Wrong answer. That is the wrong answer. Does it border to the east? Nakuru County. Nakuru County, you get 2,000 bob.
Premiering soon on Channel 1.
Beyond this control, Makuapa. How can you say kneeling down and lifting your hands in the air and saying, I am sorry 10 times is beyond this control?
You want fake money, utanjipata pambaya.
Wait a minute. Who told you it is fake? You know I don't deal with fake money.
Then wait for your suspension letter at the principal's office.
Suspension for just saying I don't like the student leadership. FIFA. Kinyaji tuache kulia matuendele.
This is one of the finest vodkas that I bought from Russia before their borders were closed.
Levi, hana kazi. Alafu?
Jane, I think you've had enough now. We have a visitor.
Oh, I don't pity.
Ouch.
I'll be patient enough.
You need to tell him the truth. Now you're coming to lock that gate. No, Jane, no. No.
Hey, then Natio get wazi.
Jane.
Where is she?
Can I see you outside?
You are trying to snatch Jane away from my hands.
Kuna shida?
there.
Good boys gone bad.
Eric Omondi has evolved from being a comedian to now being the king clout chaser.
How does a gospel artist make money? Jaguar wet again.
Anaweza kuwa celeb, anaweza kuwa na followers, but it's a time for artists to make bank.
Right? How is your relationship with Zari, considering that she dates young?
These are accessories.
They get out, slap the guy.
Yo, what's up? My name is Ted Josiah.
Mashallah.
You sing about serious issues, it will not trend. If you sing about Jambo C.
No.
Bahati hata kuwa na machozi. Willy Paul ndo alikuwa anatoa machozi.
For your beat these boys with stones. Let's all be logic. Yesu ashukangi chini analeta pesa.
Musicians are missing the point.
Do we sip water?
You are watching Pop Culture with Adhiambo with a Y.
What is going on with you?
I'll break my record again and again.
One drink and I'll let you go. He's not your child.
Your wife is worried. Get up.
She can wait. I have a life.
You think I'm stupid, quiet? I'm so stupid, man.
Well, good evening. This is KBC Sports with me, Richard Munga. On to a top story tonight, whereby national cricket team today lost to Nepal by 5 wickets in the first of 5 T20 international matches played today at the Nairobi Gymkhana grounds. Kenya hosting Nepal for an 8-match series. Visitors Nepal won the toss and opted to bowl against host Kenya. The host team put 130 runs for the loss of 8 wickets in their allotted 20 overs. In reply, Nepal scored 133 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in 19.2 overs to secure the 5-wicket victory. A second of the 5 T20 matches will be played tomorrow from 1 p.m. at the Nairobi Gymkhana. This is Nepal's cricket's first visit to Kenya.
Just kept it simple.
All the way to the hockey stadium.
We need to attract more people to be involved in this lovely sport.
Definitely that would be the route to go, have an Africa Championship where the national team players can get some good competition in a pressure situation, pressure environment. If you have the likes of Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Nigeria, Namibia to some extent, for me I believe.
Meanwhile, National Rugby Sevens team Shujaa will play Samoa in the opening match of the final leg of this season's HSBC Sevens World Series in Los Angeles, United States on Saturday night. Kenya will then play England in their second pool match on the same night before facing Scotland on Sunday morning in their final pool match as they seek to end the season on a high after a dismal performance that kicked off in Dubai. Kenya will head into the 9th and final leg of the season in position 13 on the table with just 38 points, with their best performance coming in the second leg in Dubai where they collected 12 points. South Africa has been at its best and tops the men's standings with 124 points, 2 points above Australia who are second, while Argentina is in third position on 118 points. To a bit of football now, FKF Premier League side KCB FC beat Islanders FC 3-1 in a pre-season friendly match played at Camp Toyoyo. The new Premier League season is scheduled to kick off on the 10th of next month. KCB will open their campaign against Kariobangi Sharks.
Henry Ochieng found the back of the net in the first half to give the Bankers an early lead before Alan Ogendo and Kennedy Owino strikes minutes before stoppage time granted the team a deserved win. Speaking after the final whistle, KCB FC head coach Zedekiah Zico Otieno said he was very happy for achieving an objective to assess the team's fitness before the start of the 2022-2023 FKF Premier League season. Otieno, however, expressed his displeasure with the Sports Dispute Tribunal over its decision to declare the 2021-2022 Kenya Premier League season null and void.
I think as a country we've gotten ourselves into a very difficult situation in terms of our football. So it's very, very important to the concerned parties to come down and see how we can help our football, because now everybody's just talking, and these people who are talking are not real stakeholders of the game. We are not hearing coaches talk, we are not hearing players talk, we are not hearing referees talk. These are the main stakeholders.
Former Gor Mahia FC forward Nicholas Kipkirui, who has penned a one-year deal with the Bankers, did not feature in today's fixture and is expected to participate in the team's friendly match tomorrow against Thika-based side Bidco United.
Preparation is going on, so kila kitu itakuwa rahisi so long as tunapiga kitu inatakikana hapa, so kwa game itakuwa tu rahisi. So hiyo ndo target yetu sasa, tushinde tupebe ligi.
KCB FC has also completed the signing of defenders Maurice Ajuang and Kevin Otieno, who will fill in the boots of departed Robinson Kamura and Baraka Badi. KCB has lost the services of last season's top scorer Derek Otanga, who is set to join Algerian top flight side CS Constantine. For Channel 1 Sports, this is Eddie Makina.
And internationally, English Premier League side Manchester City was held to a 3-3 draw by Spanish soccer giants Barcelona in a friendly match that was played at the Nou Camp last night. New Manchester City signing Julian Alvarez struck early after an error from Barca goalkeeper Inaki Peña before Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Frankie de Jong scored to make it 2-1. Cole Palmer tapped home an equalizer for City, but Memphis Depay turned in a cross to restore Barcelona's lead. Erling Haaland won a penalty in stoppage time, with Riyad Mahrez converting from the spot. Elsewhere, Europa League qualifiers' second legs will be played tonight, with Greek team Olympiacos hosting Apollon, while Shamrock Rovers take on Ferencvaros. Well, that's all the time we had for sports tonight. But just a reminder, stay tuned into our subsequent bulletins. As earlier or later today, we had the UEFA Champions League draw being held. A couple of teams, of course, big teams being grouped in different pools. But we shall be bringing you that later. There were also the UEFA awards held today. Women's Player of the Year, that was Alexia Putellas of Barcelona. Men's Coach of the Year, Carlo Ancelotti of Real Madrid. Best Player of the Year, that is Karim Benzema of Real Madrid. And finally, the Women's Best Coach of the Year, Serena Wigman of England. That's all the time we had tonight. I'm Richard Munga, but don't go too far. O'Brien Kimani is on the other side of the studio to continue the conversation that has been on the whole day, from governors taking oath to the 13th Parliament induction. O'Brien Kimani, take it away.
Well, that's right, and thank you very much, Richard Munga, for that update from the field. Time now to shift gears and look at what awaits the 13th Parliament. And joining me tonight is the Member of Parliament elect for Gatundu South. This is Gigi Kagombe. Remember, today more than 100 members of Parliament elect were inducted in an exercise that is expected to be concluded tomorrow. The target is to orient all the 333 members of Parliament so that this can set the ball rolling for the swearing in of the members of parliament. But the question now is, the focus now is turning on to what awaits the 13th National or 13th Parliament. I told you we have Gigi Kagombe in the studio. Thank you very much indeed for finding time to be with us. I know you're one of the MPs-elect who were taken around Parliament. And first of all, describe to us how the process was.
Thank you very much, Brian. It is true I was in Parliament today for the induction process, and it was a very friendly affair. It was a very friendly process, and I allowed the staff of Parliament, the clerk and his people, and all the orderlies in all the departments, including HR, security, everyone. It was a very friendly process, and being a first-time member of Parliament, then it was also exciting and exhilarating that I got to sit in the chamber and practice how we shall be debating, and it was generally a very good day. The only thing I would say is that we look forward to the entire process to get over so that we get down to business. So I know tomorrow everybody is going to come, and we should be ready for business maybe by next week.
And I like the fact that you're saying that it is time now to get to business. But before we get to the issues of business of the House, I want to hear from you. I mean, this was, is it your fifth or fourth attempt now?
No, actually, there is a notion that I've tried this before. I've not. This is my second attempt.
The first one was in 1997?
No. The first one was in 2012. And it was, I tried and went to the primaries. And when I lost in the primaries to the immediate former, the other one, the gentleman who passed on, is called Jose. But I lost in the primaries. I did not go to the ballot. Yeah.
So I would want to hear from you. What has moved you to go to the 13th Parliament, or what has inspired you?
Actually, I've been pushed more than inspired to join the 13th Parliament, and I've been pushed by the economy, and like I kept telling people during the campaigns, is that when you send someone to somewhere and they keep giving you the undesired results, then you may want to do it yourself. If you keep supervising people and you're giving them duties and they do not do them or execute them to the level of finesse that you desire, then at times you may feel like you want to do it yourself. So what pushes me to Parliament is the state of the economy. I'm an economist trained here at the University of Nairobi and practiced for the last 15 years or thereabouts. And I feel that there's a lot of things that are not actually happening the way they should, because the first thing that we talk about, we actually do not talk about the most pressing issues when we're addressing our politics. It's been rhetoric of this tribe, this unga, that thing. But the actual thing, the actual issues that push the economy to where we are issues that have not been addressed in Parliament. I want to say, and I plowed and I allowed the people who sat in the committee of experts doing the Constitution 2010. But one thing begs my mind when I looked at that now after the fact, that I see there wasn't an economist in that panel who would tell the other people, wait, all that is good, but then we need to look at the economy. We need to look at the burden that you're putting on the economy. So I'm here to probably do some firefighting, because you realize that the economy has been unable to move the way it should be. We should be growing at double digits, but you see from 2010, then there's been we've been lagging behind in terms of the growth of economy. And at times you realize probably is because of the structure of our constitution and the structure of our tax regime and all those things. So there are a lot of issues that bring me to Parliament, and all of them geared at making sure that we have a better economy. Because once we have a better economy, every other thing is going to fall into place. All these other issues that we've been talking about, which are social economic, are going to come into place because they will find a place to plug into that economy.
You know, and I like the fact that, you know, you're saying that you're coming on a platform of rejuvenating our economic growth, rejuvenating our economic model. But when you look at, you're talking about the last 10 years, when you look at the average economic growth of our country has been above the East African region growth, has been well above the African economic growth, has been well above the global economic growth, because we've been growing at a rate of around an average of 5%. What would you want to change this number to?
There are two things here. There's a rate at which the economy grows, but there's a rate at which the, I mean, you see the economy is, how do I put it? You may say that the economy is growing at 5%, but what's unemployment growing at? At what rate is unemployment growing at? At what rate is our population growing? At what rate is our balance of payment growing? So you may look at some numbers and they'll be exciting, but then you know, at times you like sitting and speaking a lot of English, but to the common man, you tell them that the economy has been growing at 5%, they will tell you no, because what economy grows at 5% and unga is at 230 shillings. So you see, when you tell you see, to the understanding of a common mwananchi, and I want to put myself as a common mwananchi and ask myself, if this economy is growing, then why is the cost of living going high? You see, and you see at times when we have an economy growing, for example, when you go to the first world, the cost of living is not necessarily low. I mean, you find bread is expensive, but then that's commensurate with the earnings. So we have a living standard that is way up there, but an earning of the average mwananchi that is very low. So that is the issue that we need to address, because you see, we could be growing an economy pegged on borrowed money, or pegged on borrowed input that does not really reflect the life of that of that person in the village somewhere trying to get a living. For example, there are a lot of measures that people use. What parameters do we use to look at the economy and the growth of the economy? If you ask, for example, in the last 5 or 10 years, we have achieved, you know, an SGR, which is input as part of the growth of the economy. We have probably done the express way, which is part of this growth of the economy, right? But all these things, to some extent, we have not been able to convert that growth to ease the life of that person out there in the village. And those are the things that we're saying that we must really bring the economy to stop this. Our economy is a bit disjointed in terms of that growth that you allude to. And that is what we are seeking to balance.
Well, those are, I mean, the fact of the matter is, I mean, those are not my numbers that I have generated. Yeah. There is an institution in this country called the Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics, which is the official statistical agency in this country. Do you believe in the numbers that they give to the public?
Well, I'm not an expert. They are the experts.
Well, you are an economist.
But I think I said the parameters that you want to look at to gauge the economy must be, we're looking at the GDP. What's the per capita income
in Kenya?
That's what I would want to look
about,
at. You know,
1,000. Is it $1,800?
You know,
of course it's low. I mean, when you look at it, the global standards.
So what I'm looking at in terms of growth, and what I'm saying is, it's very interesting. It's very nice when you sit in offices and give a press conference and give very beautiful numbers. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, a lot of this growth of the economy is in very a few sectors and controlled by very few people.
So the wealth is not evenly distributed?
It's not evenly distributed.
So now that you're in Parliament, what policies or what laws do you plan to change to ensure that the national cake is distributed equally?
First of all, before we even talk about the national cake, the distribution of the national cake, we must first bake the cake. So what I'm more interested in, even before we come to the distribution of it,
is the baking process.
And
Address the baking process.
And I think the baking process means that we have been losing a lot of money to other. Of course, we live in a 21st century where we have to, we have interdependence of countries, but we are the watchdog of the public, and we must make sure that as a country we do not, even when you have, when you sit in organizations that have tariffs and blocks and trade blocks and all those things, and you go and agree, we do not want you to do ABCD. You must also think about yourself and be selfish as a country and say we must protect our interest. So one of the greatest things that we have is that in the last few years and over time, basically, we've been losing our ability to produce finished products in this country. We are a country that produces raw materials and sells them as that. So other people go and make value addition of our products, and they come back here as finished products. And then we pay a premium for that value addition, and then we lose unemployment. I do not think we can talk about any growth of this country without addressing the issue of unemployment. And we have a huge population that is unengaged or disengaged from any valuable or beneficial employment. Once we employ those people, then we are going to make a trickle-down effect. And I think once we were out there and we were campaigning, we talked a lot about the bottom-up economic model. And we're saying that we want to start our economy from the bottommost person. And I think one of the ways of doing that is we must have a tax regime that is cognizant of that person who walks from Kangemi and walks to town or to industrial area to go and get a livelihood. And we must start thinking, how do we make it better so that in the morning they don't have to walk? So that we tax them in the evening. We want to tax them because they're also taxpayers, but how do we tax them in the evening as opposed to tax them in the morning? So the number one, you would want to see a change in the country's tax administration as well as management. Completely. And
absolutely.
Number two is, which also comes to tax, but addressing, the first thing is looking at how we tax our people. The number two is looking at how the tax regime, again, is the one that has been kicking people out of this country in terms of investment. Once we have favorable tax policy to investors, then you will find more people coming to invest in this country as opposed to finding Kenyans. Right now we have a lot of Kenyans who are producing and doing manufacturing in our neighboring countries, here in Uganda, in Tanzania, others in China, the ones who have bigger muscle. I've been able to go and produce in China and come and sell the last and finished products here. We want to stop that. We want to encourage anybody who is able to produce any goods and who is able to put up a plant, even the cottage industry, small plants, to encourage them to bring them here so that they absorb our unemployed youth. And so we engage them, and that is how we trickle down the money from a top few to everybody at the bottom. But you definitely know, the kind of business model that you are referring to already exists through the special economic zones and the export processing zones where, investors can come and set up their base and, they enjoy tax rebates, they enjoy tax holidays, and in the process they employ people. So how do you plan to change that? Those things are more on paper than in reality. I am a director at KTDA. I'm a director of Theta Tea Factory and Darugo Tea Factories. Those things are on paper. I have tried for the last 9 months to apply for a tea factory to be enjoined in the SPVs, in the special economic zones, so that we get rebates in terms of, our greatest cost is electricity. It would help us if we got if we got the advantages of paying, better rates for electricity and another costs like that, and fuel and such. But I will tell you this: those things. Our policy is not friendly to investors. Let me just put it that plainly. That is what it is. I'm one of them. I'm telling you, I'm a director at Theta, and I have done it for the last 9 months. I have been to those offices more than 15 times.
Which offices?
We have the actually. There's the special economics zones authority, and there's another one, not the special, the APZ, the APZA also,
processing zone.
Yes, and all those, and now it's not really the fault of those gentlemen sitting in those offices. Their hands are tied. We have a lot of red tapes to every process. And one of the things we want to say, in fact, and I know today I called upon the governor of Kiambu because I went for his inauguration, and we told him, and swearing in, and I told him, we are begging that the county governments make it accessible and easy for people to come and do business. One of the ways, for example, is that you find to do a small business you need about 10, 12, 13 different licenses and approvals and certifications. And we're saying we want to make these policies investor friendly. Let an investor come. And these investors, we're not necessarily talking about investors from outside. If we were able to be enjoined in the SPV, for example, I would take the money that I'm using on electricity and probably put a better equipment to better process my tea, so that I don't sell my tea in bulk of 70 kilograms, and we sell them in smaller, better value-added quantity, because I'll have some more money left.
Help me understand these, Bwana MP. I mean, when you look at the last 10 years, I mean, there has been major reforms that have gone into the investment space in this country. There has been changes in the tax code. There has been reforms within the business environment in this country. So now that you're in Parliament, what piece of legislation do you plan to plan to bring on board to change, to improve this further?
First of all, we have in the last maybe 5 years reduced or completely removed excess duty payment on a limited excess duty payment on some goods like diapers, on issues like on goods like sanitary towels and such. What that does effectively is that it opens up our market to external aggression. Because what you're saying, therefore, is that someone who was here being able to produce diapers, for example, you open them up for competition against people who've been producing these things for the last 50, 30 years in the developed world. What that means, essentially, and I know someone would ask, isn't that advantageous to the country so that we get cheaper produce or cheaper products? But what that does over time is that we become dependent on other nations, such that our economy keeps hurting. So one of the pieces of legislation that I would be interested in is putting back excess duty on importation of goods that could actually be done locally. That's how you control, so that when you're an investor, then you find it easier to come and produce here, as opposed to going and producing in China and then importing into Kenya.
Help me also understand things. I mean, because any time from now, once the induction process is done, the swearing is expected to start, and then you can go full swing into business. How do you expect the 13th Parliament to change the livelihood of Kenyans?
There are many ways. One among them is there's an issue, for example, and there's a plethora of issues that we need to address. But, for example, I would look at farming and ask myself, how can we help the farmer get better produce from their goods. And one of the things is, I think about a farmer, for example, in Nyandara, producing potatoes. And their potatoes are consumed in this country somewhere. But that same person has a child who goes to the shop and buys crisps. And they're not able to get that money. So we help in creating small cottage industries. And how do you do that? Reduce the cost of electricity, reduce the cost of doing business, reduce the cost of, give incentives, incentivize new investors by giving them tax rebates and this thing should not only be in special economic zones where only few can access. Because some of these things, we cannot grow the economy by just having a few people out there. You need to extrapolate this to a very small person in a small village somewhere. So that is one, farming. We have something else. You know, the economy is grown by the private sector more than the public sector. Yeah. The public sector just does, infrastructure and such things, creates convenience for doing business. When you find a government saying that they have money running to almost $500 billion in pending bills, it tells you that has really crippled the private sector. So a lot of business people out there, and these business people range from a very small mama mboga who supplied some 2 sacks of potatoes to an institution like NYS or such, to a huge enterprise like Safaricom that is
so those are some of the issues that you plan to address there. Very good. I'm being told that our time is up. I know the time is never enough.
All right.
Because there are other programs that have to be aired. Okay. Otherwise, thank you very much indeed. This is not the last time that we are calling you. We'll continue engaging.
Yeah.
Enjoy your evening. Thank you very much for joining us here.
You're most welcome.
All the best.
All right.
Well, you have been watching Prime Edition live from Broadcasting House. Myself, Brian Kimani. Have yourself a good night.
Jumapili hii kwenye runinga ya KBC, ungana naye Askofu Michael Wanderi wa kanisa la Christian Foundation Fellowship Kiambu kuanzia saa 1 hadi saa 2 asubuhi.
Ningetaka nikwambie, our Jehovah God, because the Bible says he is the same yesterday, today and forevermore. He is able to take you to a place of abundance. He is able to take you to Rehoboth in the name of Jesus.